Hi, I'm Mary Logston, and here I am again at your library. Today at your library, I have a special guest, somebody I'll be working with in the next few months to bring you some programming here that will help you to answer some questions that maybe you have been uncomfortable asking. Stick around. So as I said, today I have a special guest who is going to be here at the library, not just today, this morning, but over the next few months to help us offer some programming. So first of all, I just want to say welcome to you, Lori.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Lori Yoakam, and I am the director of the Adult Day Center at Heartland Senior Services here in Ames.
Okay. And is that a role that you've been in for a while?
I've been there for 15 years.
Okay, terrific. I just wanted to mention that the Adult Day Center at Heartland Senior Services is a facility that staff at the library serve by bringing books once a month for your shared library there at the day center. So I have been there recently.
Yes.
And I'm aware of the facility, and it's nice to bring some library materials out there. Now, you and I have spoken in the last couple of months about some ideas for potential programming here at the library, and I'm excited to say that we are going to take action and offer something beginning in February. Tell us the name of the series we're going to be offering.
It's going to be Dementia 101, related to questions that people have about their family members or a loved one that has dementia or early signs of dementia that they wonder about. Primarily the people that we care for in the Adult Day Center, probably 80% of them have some form of dementia. So I know it's out there, and everybody knows somebody that has dementia in their family or their friends, or somebody is affected by it.
When we talk about dementia, if you could help educate me a little bit, how does that relate to Alzheimer's? When we think about Alzheimer's and dementia, often they're used interchangeably, in my experience.
And people don't understand the definition of it. Now, dementia would be the umbrella of what Alzheimer's falls underneath that umbrella, and there's other forms of dementia, but Alzheimer's is just one form of dementia.
One form of dementia.
Say, if you look at it like cancer as an umbrella, and then the different types of cancer would go underneath that, it would be the same thing with dementia and Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's being the most prevalent and the one that people most hear about.
So what kind of questions, the name of the series, as you say, is Dementia 101. Our idea in offering this is for it to really be an opportunity for people to have a conversation and for it to be sort of informal. I mean, I know when you and I spoke initially, that's what we didn't want so much to have a lecture series. I mean, the idea was that people would come in and just ask their questions. And we're going to have the first one on February 23rd, which is the fourth Thursday in the month of February, and then we'll continue for 4 months on the fourth Thursday. But the first one is going to be at noon, at the noon hour, here at the library. What kind of questions do you expect that people will have if they come? What are you prepared to answer?
What I'm hoping to answer are the questions that people are afraid to ask. They just don't know to ask. When people hear about dementia and Alzheimer's, what they're seeing a lot of is scientific things, the things that cause it and the things to prevent it, the medications to do. But the questions people really have are, how am I supposed to deal with this person in the middle of the night when they get up and I don't know what to do and I'm tired? You know, how do I make changes in that? What do I do to live day-to-day living to keep this person in their homes? And I think most people, their goal is to stay at home as long as they can, and that's part of what Adult Day Center does. We help families keep their loved ones at home before they would have to look at long-term care. And we become a resource for family members to answer those questions that they have that they just don't know how to do. Sometimes it's questions they don't even know they have. And it's like when they hear it and we give different tips of things of how to brush their teeth, you know, simple things like that,
Okay.
or how to keep them from wandering in certain areas, or different things that they need to know, and to let them know that it's okay to do certain things, and it's okay to be frustrated, and those are things that are just normal.
So I know you and I also spoke a little bit about the term caregiver, and whether people who are living with people with dementia see themselves as caregivers, and that's kind of an interesting thing to explore, because in often case they don't necessarily see themselves as a caregiver. They're just in the role of spouse or child or loved one. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
They don't. A lot of times you'll see a caregiver who truly is a caregiver, being a spouse, a wife, a husband, but they think their role is, well, it's just my job. You know, it's my responsibility. I took this on as a spouse, and this is what I have to do, not realizing that their caregiving role is very stressful. I mean, it's a lot of work to care for somebody with dementia 24/7. To know that you cannot sleep with your eyes closed. You have to have one eye open all the time, knowing sometimes what we see is that family members don't realize how bad it is until they really seek help. And we see it and it's like, wow, how have you done this this long? You know, and people just do. They struggle, and a lot of times what we see is caregivers failing health before the participant with dementia.
So this is really a wonderful resource where you will be able to give some practical tips. It sounds to me, you know, you have some best practices really because of the experiences of being in this field and helping to support families through your work at the Adult Day Center. And so now you'll be able to come to the library and answer those questions, not necessarily for people who are experiencing it right now. It seems to me that this would be beneficial to folks who are not experiencing living with or caring for someone with dementia, but might actually even have some questions or concerns about how would I even know for myself or for a friend or a loved one. What are the signs, that kind of thing. Is that something that you're prepared to address as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And just the little things that people worry about or think about, that they may have dementia, or they may have a family member that's showing signs.
Right.
And what are those signs that they can be looking for? And what do they do? What do they do? Okay, I see these things are going on. What am I supposed to do next?
Right, right. Well, this is really, I think, going to be a nice opportunity, especially since over the next 4 months, February through February, March, April, May, we're going to rotate and offer these Dementia 101 Q&A sessions in the afternoon and then also in the early evening. So in February we will meet at noon, and then in March it's going to be at 6 o'clock in the evening. So again, we're really trying to be accommodating to folks with different schedules, and each of those events will be on our program schedule, program calendar. You and I were also talking about the fact that there are, of course, library resources on all manner of health-related issues. And so I always do encourage people to come to the library and check out books. One book over the last few years that was best-selling work of fiction, Still Alice, is a book that we have in our book club collection, which means that we've identified it as a book that's really good for discussion, and we have multiple copies of it. And I know that you also have read the book.
I have read the book, and I really recommend it to my staff and family caregivers, simply because it's a way to kind of get a sense of what the person with dementia is feeling.
Yeah, and it was written by Lisa Genova, who herself holds a PhD in neuroscience from Harvard University, and she has a remarkable skill in this book of describing from the point of view of a person who is entering into dementia
Yes,
or
the early
Alzheimer's.
stages at
The
a young
different stages.
and what we're seeing is a lot of people a lot younger.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of early onset dementia
Okay.
happening now.
So do you think that, so this book would be useful to somebody who's just trying to understand what the experience might be
Absolutely.
like, firsthand experience. So of course, we recommend that you read this, check it out from the library. It's a work of fiction. In addition, we do have a lot of health related resources in the collection, in our nonfiction collection. And also we have access to databases, research, health resources here at the library that we would always be happy to refer our patrons to if they want to, read a little bit more about research into different areas of healthcare, and just looking for other resources to advance their knowledge. But what a great thing just to be able to sit down and have a conversation and ask a question that, as you said earlier, people sometimes are just afraid to ask. And so I really appreciate your willingness to do this here at the library. And again, the date is February 23rd. And you will be here. I believe we're going to be upstairs in the Rotary Room. We'll have to check the calendar. Is there anything else that you expect? Who do you think is really going to benefit from this?
Well, I look for each session to be different.
Okay.
I believe there will be different questions. There will be things that I could ask of the people attending if these are things that are happening for them at home.
Okay.
And it could be issues with bathing. It could be issues with personal hygiene. It could be issues with wandering. It could be socialization issues. It could be driving. Driving is a huge thing. What do they do? How do they stop that from, how do they say no to a family member that has dementia who is insisting that they can do these things that they truly cannot do? But it's a struggle.
Right.
There are struggles, and it's letting people know that it's okay to be frustrated. It's learning how to deal with it, and having a sense of humor. You have to be able to laugh, and it's a loss, and it's hard.
Yeah.
But I bring my years of experience to it, as well as my mother had Alzheimer's, so we dealt with that for 10 years.
Okay.
I mean, it's a long illness. It doesn't just end in a couple years, and for her it was 10 years that she came to the day center.
Another perspective that occurs to me is for the family members who aren't there on a daily basis and are concerned about family who are in a different city, town, state. What can you do? How can you help? People you're concerned may be experiencing some of these symptoms, and your only way of knowing is based on phone calls or occasional visits.
There are a
Do you
lot
get
of
questions like that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what can they do, and who do they turn to, and what types of things can they do for that? There are a lot of long distance or caregivers that have to depend on neighbors.
Sure.
And could be a librarian,
Yeah.
somebody that's used to, maybe if it is delivering a book to the home, and everybody becomes a gatekeeper.
Sure.
And being able to distinguish if there's different things happening with that person.
Yeah.
I know that there was an incident I just heard yesterday, and it was a bank that had notified family member because they saw some things that were happening that shouldn't have been happening. So bank tellers become gatekeepers, mail deliver. There's just a lot of people out there that can watch over people if they know what they're doing, and
Sure.
they know what to look for, have a little bit of a question in their mind when they see something wrong.
So really, it seems to me that these sessions could be beneficial to just within the general population, people who want to learn more about the signs and symptoms of dementia, and just to be aware, just to increase your awareness, just as from the point of view of wanting to be a good neighbor, good friend, good citizen, the kinds of things that it's helpful to be aware of, just so that you might be able to offer some just to have some sensitivity and offer some assistance if ever needed. So whether you're experiencing this personally in a day-to-day caregiving role, or if you want to just broaden your understanding and empathy through hearing about situations and then learning some tips, I think you would benefit from coming to this series of sessions. So thank you so much, Lori, for coming and giving some more details and giving our viewers an opportunity to get to know you and being willing to come to the library to share, to ask questions, and to provide some answers, and to get people talking with one another too, which I think is very, very helpful. So thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you on February 23rd at noon here at the library.
Yes, thank you. I look forward to it.
Great. And now, here are some of the new items that we've recently added to the library's collection. I'm so glad that I had a chance to speak with Lori today so that we can learn more about what you might learn if you come to our program in February. Of course, to find out about everything that's happening at the library, pick up a copy of our newsletter, page 1. Check out our Facebook page where we frequently post information about what's happening at the library. You can sign up to receive page 1 in your email if you'd like. And of course, ask any of the staff members here at the library if you want more information about this or anything else that's happening. I mentioned during my conversation with Lori our book club collection, and I haven't spoken about that lately, so I just want to remind you that the library does curate a collection of titles of books that we have deemed are appropriate for book discussion, that they make for good book discussion. There are about 75 titles, mostly fiction, some are nonfiction, and these books are special in that we buy multiple copies of them because we assume if you are in a book discussion, it's with more than a couple of people usually. So we have multiple copies of the book club titles. We allow them to check out a little bit longer, and so you could just share them, hang on to them, read them, and then hang on to it for your discussion that's coming up. And we've recently moved them to a location that's just at the north end of the adult services area, soon after you come off of the stairs here. So if you're looking for the book club collection, that's where you will find it. And you can certainly ask us, and we have a handout that has the titles and call numbers of all the books that we've got set aside in the book club collection. So whether you're interested in reading Still Alice or one of the other books that we've recommended for discussion, you'll want to stop by here at the library and browse our collection and ask any of the library staff for recommendations of books that would make for good discussion. So thank you once again for being with me today. This is Mary Logsden at your library.